In this video, we are going to define a subscription for articles of the same category, that is of the Economist category. And then we're going to proceed to define a single purchase for one of these articles, that is the Economist Article 1. And we're going to do this by using article IDs. The concept that is important here and that we're going to showcase to you is introducing multiple article IDs for a single article, what we're going to do for Economist Article 1. So how we're going to proceed with this is, firstly, we're going to define a subscription based on one single article ID for all of these, for all three articles. And then secondly, we're going to introduce a second ID that is going to be applied for only Economist Article 1. And we're going to introduce an additional single purchase option only for that article. So first, let us look into the source code for Economist Article 1. Now, this applies not only to this article, but this would apply also to Economist Article 2 and 3. We need to add this in-page configuration that has a keyword article ID, and then we're going to specify the value for the article ID of this article. Now, if we go back to the connector dashboard, we are going to have to define a new subscription that is going to be referencing this article ID. So let's add a new one. Let's call it a 1-month subscription. Again, this is visible by the user, so you should put something informative in here. Let's select article ID here. And here we're going to need the article ID defined here. So let's just put it. This article ID again is subscription, but this can be anything, just that it's equal to what you're specifying here and the article itself. Let's set the validity period to 1 month. Let's set the price to 20 euros, for example, pay now. And let's link it to the template. We know that this template applies well to this article. So now let's click on save. And if we go back to our Economist Article 1 here, we're going to see that the subscription has been applied here to both 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that works as expected. So the only thing we have to still do is to introduce an additional ID for Economist Article 1 so that it can be differentiated between other articles in the same category. Now, in order to do this, we need to go back to the source code. And if we go back to the source code, this is again the source code for Economist Article 1, we need to add an array of IDs. So an array is usually specified in JSON notation. It is specified with this angular brackets here. Now we need to open one and close the second one, and then we add the second member, or that is the second ID, with a comma, and then we specify, let's call it, for example, single purchase. So this is the notation for an article to have two IDs. So the second ID is single purchase. Okay, let's copy this ID. Now, if we go back to our connector dashboard here, and if we go to single purchases, let us define a new single purchase. Title here is, let's call it just single purchase. Let us do the referencing by article ID here directly. And let's paste this article ID. Let's set the price to 20 cents, pay later. And let's click on this template. Now, clicking on save creates a new purchase option. And if we go back to our Economist Article 1 here, and if we refresh the page, we see that this is added. So going to Economist Article 2 and 3, we see that it's not added. So this gives us the possibility of monetizing individual articles, but leaving some of them only as part of the subscription, which is maybe useful to you in your use case.